What's up, Guardians? Peace and Grease here, and it's time for my review of Renegades. Should you buy it? Well, hopefully I can answer that question for you. Now, if you've watched any of my past content, you know that I was not a fan of this Star Wars collaboration. I play Destiny for Destiny. If I want a Star Wars experience, I will go play Star Wars. It's just that simple. So I'm going to be critical of this expansion because of that. Now, if that offends your sensibilities, then I would recommend that you find a different content creator. Moving on, starting this campaign, I encountered not one, not two, but three different soft locks. Three, which is absolutely ridiculous to say the least. That meant that three different times I had to stop playing the campaign. I had to try wiping. I had to try starting the mission over again. I had to try closing the game and restarting it. And when none of those worked, I then had to start trying to research workarounds. And, you know, for a full-priced expansion, I think that this is just unacceptable. And again, I've said it before and I'll say it again, this outdated engine is unfortunately, it's in my opinion, it seems like it's starting to fragment and the issues are starting to get bigger and bigger and bigger rather than being a mild, like a visual bug, for example. We now have situations where we are completely locked out of progressing until we try to find a workaround. And a common excuse I heard this entire time was, oh, just switch to a different character. Well, that's fine for me. I've been running 3 characters since D1. But somebody that's only running one character, to tell them to start a whole new character and start the entire game over again is just not a viable option, in my opinion. So, yeah, it's definitely disappointing, and it definitely had an impact, and it's going to have an impact on my opinion of this expansion, even though Bungie is going to have it patched and fixed by the time you play it, if you play it after the fact, for example. It was my personal experience, so I'm not going to ignore it, you know, period, the end. So, with that being said, let's move on to the things that I liked about the expansion, and then we'll move into the things that I had issues with. Okay. Music department. I have 3 words for you. Home fucking run. Yeah. One of my favorite things about the original trilogy was the music. I didn't even know who frickin' John Williams was at the time. I just knew I loved the music in the original Star Wars trilogy when I was a kid. So much so, in fact, I saved up my allowance and I bought this huge, like, record collection of, like, I think it was The Empire Strikes Back. I still have it on the shelf, as a matter of fact. But it had like 4 different records, and instantly fell in love with it. And I got to say that I think that you blended that Destiny music kind of sound with Star Wars, and you did it in a really well done way, enough that it feels like John Williams actually had a hand in it. So, I mean, like I said, home fucking run. I mean, really great job. I think that the voice acting was really well done. I think that the environment team, 3 words for you, home fucking run. Where were you during Edge of Fate? I swear, it's like during Edge of Fate, the environment team took a vacation. And then for Renegades, the environment team came back refreshed, because I got to say that the environments in Renegades are amazing. Like, you look at Tharsis, for example. It looks like Mos Eisley. I mean, I think that they did a tremendous job with the environments. This is what I'm talking about. So again, environment team, home fucking run. Weapons team. I think you did a great job as well. I think that the weapons look great. I think that they sound great. And of course, you have that typical Destiny weapon feel. There's a lot of good new weapons here to like. Even the lightsaber, as an example. And I got to be honest, when I first, saw the lightsaber, I rolled my eyes and I was like, oh God, lightsaber. Bleh. But I got to admit, it's pretty fucking cool, dude. I can't lie. It was pretty damn cool. The exotic mission, I enjoyed it. It was pretty fun. The different kind of crystals, you have to do different types of activities to unlock. I like that aspect of it as well. There's a lot of secrets here also that I really dig. There's a lot to like here. There really is. I mean, superb job on a lot of departments. Really knocked it out of the park here, as far as I'm concerned. And so much so, in fact, the biggest compliment, Bungie, that I can give you, is I didn't want to like this expansion, but I do. I do. I think that the good thing here is you didn't go overboard into the Star Wars universe. It's like this really nice kind of blend of keeping it in the Destiny world with a little bit of that kind of whimsical Star Wars. I think you did a really tremendous job, and I think that it shows. And I like it. You converted me. You've taken me from someone who didn't want this, I wasn't interested in it, and I rolled my eyes at it, to somebody that was like, okay, that's pretty damn cool. I like the different syndicate factions, which really should be a surprise to nobody, because back in D1, I liked the little syndicates that we had with Future War Cult, and we had New Monarchy, and you know, I like those factions there. And on top of that, there's a lot of little secrets here and there. There's really a lot to like about this. The campaign story, I think, overall, it was good. I will say that I do wish we at least killed off one of the bad guys. I mean, we have Loom running around, we have Bale running around still, even after the campaign, but it's hard to be mad because there's like a sparrow racing section. And I'm not going to spoil it, I'm just going to say it was pretty damn good. It really was. And then we have these, you know, behemoths that, I mean, everything was blended so nicely and so seamlessly. I would have preferred to see a nice cinematic cutscene of Bale and our character lightsaber fighting. I really wanted to see that, and that never happened, so that's kind of disappointing, and it's still something that I'm kind of holding out hope for. I was hoping that the new dungeon was going to have that. I guess it's a little bit of a spoiler alert. It didn't. Yeah, Bale didn't really factor that much, nor did Loom really factor that much into the new dungeon. I ran it several times now, but who knows what the future holds. I was really kind of holding out hope for that. I really was. Let's move into the things that I had issue with. First of all, let's talk about Bale a little bit. Bale, when we first started hearing about this character, I kind of rolled my eyes and went like, oh, gee, overly dramatic emo theater kid, ugh, you know. But then I went looking for lore on Bale, right? Like some of the backstory on Bale, like what's his deal? Like what's going on with him, you know? And I gotta say, I'm really kind of blown away here. If you don't know Bale's backstory, I'll explain it, kind of summarize it really quickly. For those of you that do, bear with me. So essentially, as I'm understanding it, Bale was a kid, all he had was his mother. Bale's mother passes away. Walking through the streets of the last city, lo and behold, Bale sees his mom with her fire team. That's right, the Traveler brought Bale's mom back to life. Well, a kid, as you would expect, seeing their mother, who had passed, you know, alive and well, of course, that child ran to their mother and embraced them. And, of course, we all know the little shtick about how Guardians don't remember their past, even though it's become kind of a meme at this point because so many Guardians do know about their past. But I digress, we'll just move past that. Bale apparently melees her son, not knowing that he's her son, as if, you know, adding insult to injury. Apparently, Bale's mom's ghost, in a snide way, is like, you know, clear the way or something along those lines. I gotta ask, what the hell? Why wasn't that a cinematic cutscene? That's literally a cinematic cutscene that would have taken like seconds. It would have been a very short cinematic cutscene, but it would have made the character so much more relatable. Why wasn't that included in the campaign? Because I went from rolling my eyes at this emo, overly dramatic theater kid to, oh, okay, yeah, I totally understand Bale now. I totally get him. He's totally relatable now. I completely get it. I do. I understand why he hates Guardians. I understand why he hates the Traveler. I understand why he hates Ghosts. I understand it now. I get it. So why wasn't that included? That could have had such a bigger impact on players' impression of Bale, and you just left it out. Like what's going on there? I'm still kind of blown away that you didn't bother to include that. Moving on. Something else I do want to talk about here really quickly is, when did we decide that the rewards from the legendary campaign were going to be dog shit? When did we have that meeting? Because I wasn't invited. I never got that memo. At some point, apparently, we've decided that all of the rewards you get from the legendary campaign are going to be shit from this point forward. When was that? Who decided that? Because what's the point of running a legendary campaign? And if your response is, well, you get the new exotic, Yeah, no, I'm good, man. I'm good. I can run all three of my characters through the normal campaign and I'll get the exotics whenever I get them. I just don't care. So, in fact, most of the time as I'm running the campaign, I didn't even use any of the new weapons. And here's the thing, I grinded my power level to max. I grinded my guardian rank. I expected tier 5s from the legendary campaign. I expected decent rewards. But 90+% of the rewards I got, I scrapped. I didn't even touch any of the new weapons. Didn't touch them. Because I mean, it's a waste of my time and it's an insult, to your players' time that you don't recognize that they invested their time to grind their power level and their guardian rank, that you're going to give them dog shit rewards for the legendary campaign. Then it defeats the purpose of running the legendary campaign. Like, no, I'm good. I'll never run it again. I'll never run it on legendary again as long as we have dog shit rewards. Period. The end. If all I'm going to get is the new exotic, yeah, no, I'm good, fam. So, moving on. The orders. So, orders, if you didn't know, replaced bounties. My first issue is it definitely seems as if Bungie is trying to reduce the amount of bright, not seems, but it's proven at this point that the amount of bright dust that we can get is drastically been cut by like half, by 50% from what we could normally get from bounties. That's pretty much, in my opinion, unacceptable. Like, why? I mean, do you just, what, Bungie? Do you just want to delete bright dust at this point? And don't get me wrong, I don't think that the order system is necessarily bad as a whole. I like the fact that it really kind of molds itself to, my character's, build or my character's loadouts. But I don't ever have to worry about getting some weapon or some subclass that I'm not even running, right? I like that. It means I never have to stop playing the game to dig through my vault to find some weapon that fits some specific detail in an order. So I like the idea of the order system, but I gotta say that the bright dust has got to be jacked up to an like times 2 easily, because it's unacceptable at this point. You might as well delete bright dust at that rate, which would not be a good idea, Bungie. Just saying, if you're thinking about it, I wouldn't recommend it. But yeah. Again, I like the contracts, I like the syndicates, I like the factions, I like all the little secrets. Again, there's a lot to like about here. There really is. I would say I gotta bring it up. Armor. There was so much cool armor in this expansion. Why the hell didn't we get cool armor in the game? Because again, the armor that we get in game is just mediocre. It doesn't look good. It just doesn't. I'm sorry. Most of the armor I just ignore. I just don't see a point. I end up slapping some type of a transmog on it to cover up how ugly and mediocre the armor is. And just FYI, that Iron Banner armor set that Bungie put in Eververse, and in the community there was a bunch of community backlash. Well, guess what Bungie did? At their earliest convenience, Bungie has put the Iron Banner armor set back in Eververse again. Yeah, they did. They just put it back in Eververse again. What happened to earning the community's trust, Bungie? So we have what looks like rushed, shitty armor in the campaign. All the good armor still in Eververse. So how do you plan on earning back your community's trust? Or did you just forget about that? Don't worry about it. As soon as you said it, we didn't believe you either. So it's okay. You didn't even believe it, Bungie, when you said the words. So yeah, that's definitely disappointing, to say the least. I think that the dungeon is decent. I think that the exotic mission is decent. I think that there's, again, a lot to like about this expansion. There are some issues here and there that I have issue with. I think that the activity overall is fun. For the most part, we have these little invasions. And again, I do like a lot about this. And I definitely think if you were to buy it, you would like it as well. But there are definitely some issues as well. Again, we're kind of the same old complaints that we've always had, unfortunately. But there you go. That's kind of my opinion of Renegades. If I had to give it a rating, 5 being like amazing, 1 being absolutely dog shit, I would give this probably about a 3.5 or 4. is probably where I would fall. Pretty good for a Destiny 2 expansion, because most Destiny 2 expansions, well, they have been far less. Most Destiny 2 expansions have been like a 2 or below. So, as far as that's concerned, yeah. Still, however, the best expansion we've ever had is Forsaken. Still. But this one's good. I got to commend Bungie for it, you know. But just like I predicted, there was a player spike when expansions dropped, and then that number would drop back down again, which is exactly what I said would happen. Again, this doesn't surprise me in the least, but feel free to let me know what you think down in the comment section below, or don't, whatever you're feeling. And until next time, peace out.